I mean, people would call me and say that my life was in danger and then hang up the phone. People would call me and say, hey, if I tell you this, I'll be killed. And I'm like, well, don't tell me, click. I mean, it was constant.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the second episode of Hollercast. My name is Josh, and we are here again today with a fantastic guest with some awesome conversations that I can't wait to get into. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, turn on the notification bell. That really helps with the algorithm, and that will get this show out there to more people. And I'll turn it over to Chase.
I'm Chase, and Josh, this might be the coolest first two guests we could have possibly wished for. And this guy was one of the first people that we thought about.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So today we got Mr. Jimmy Henshaw. He's an involved member of the community that has a passion for spruce pine and wants to see it grow. And he's put his money where his mouth is. He's the mastermind behind the Toe Jam Festival and the Spruce Pine Alien Conference and Expo, as well as a major figure in the push for the Spruce Pine Skate Park. Yep. So, Jimmy.
Yeah. Hey, everybody.
Welcome, man. I
glad to be here. And I think you summed it up nicely. I kicked off a lot of projects. I'm a busy man, but I just like stirring the pot, I love this little town. Born and raised here. It's so funny, during the Toe Jam Festival planning phase, there are people, for some reason there was a lot of pushback against that. And there's a lot of pushback against the Alien Festival too, but there's a lot of people telling me to go back where I came from. I said, that's cool. Deer Park's right over there. So I was like, be happy to. I love Deer Parks, Great Lakes.
So you got pushback on the Alien Festival?
Oh God, yeah. That was really strange. Death threats, people driving by the house.
Wow.
Yeah, threatening letters.
Holy cow.
I want to say that surprises me, but somehow it doesn't.
You know what the odd thing about it is? It wasn't local.
Really?
This was people from Greenville, South Carolina, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Atlanta.
Really?
I mean, people would call me and say that my life was in danger and then hang up the phone. People would call me and say, hey, if I tell you this, I'll be killed. And I'm like, well, don't tell me, click. I mean, it was constant.
Do you think that's a result of just wading into those waters with the whole alien thing, or
you tap into a unique element, subculture?
Because quite honestly, I thought you were going to say it was going to be like a religious, maybe a local religious pushback or something like that.
No, the churches gave me tons of support.
Wow.
It was the outpouring from the community was surprising. Dellinger's bookstore at the time, super supporters. I think a lot of that, has to do with people know me or know my mom and dad. Right. I grew up here, and they understand that it wasn't because that I'm some just weirdo out here trying to break things. Really what I did is, when I'm a businessman. So when that Bigfoot Festival happened in Marion, it brought 20,000 people and $1 million of revenue to Marion in one day.
That's insane.
And Zan, sister, I don't know if you guys know Zan, but
love Zan.
Zan and I were hanging out at Whitson's building, as we're known to do, and talking about it. And he said, you need to do something like that, or we need to do something like that. Spruce Pines, they have Bigfoot Festival. What do we got? So I literally did this is no joke. This is how it all started. I did 5 minutes of research on Google in Mitchell County, and I quickly found out that this is the truth. This is documented. I've got the whole documentation. There are more UFO sightings in Mitchell County than the rest of North Carolina combined.
Wow.
That's not the first time I've actually heard that.
Yeah, and the research is there. I don't know if it's the water. I don't know if it's just us. We're different. I don't know if it's the crystals in the mines.
Psychedelics we all take.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever, whatever your poison is. But regardless of the what, that was the facts. So I was like, okay, and I'm an acronym guy, so I was like, all right, aliens. than that dark sky telescope. You know, we're one of only 2 dark sky observatories in the South, and now we're the only one with a planetarium on site. That's an incredible facility.
It's incredible. Me and Josh were talking about that like a couple days ago. Actually, you've never been there.
No, I've not.
I've never looked through the telescope, but I've been to the planetarium several times. If you've never been, you need to go. It's a great
something
thing.
else, and I love the repurposing of the the landfill. They're finding another use for the space.
Love it.
Can't really build on it, so they found a way to be creative there. So, and then there was out Bear Creek. I don't know if you know, but there's another observatory station out Bear Creek.
Yeah, the Willis Observatory.
Willis Observatory out there. So all this stuff started coming together, and I was just like doing some research, and I had the TV on, looked up, and Ancient Aliens was on TV, that show on the History Channel or whatever. And I was like, then my marketing mind started kicking in, and I was like, all right, Spruce Pine UFO, Spruce Pine Alien. And then I was like, wait a minute. And then I can get these guys from the History Channel to come here.
Yeah, what was the guy's
Mike
name?
Barra.
Yeah.
Mike Barra. The other guys were tied up because I reached out to all of them. I couldn't get George. I can't say his last name, Sukanis or whatever, the guy with the hair on the
Right.
They all had scheduling conflicts, but he was free because he was on a book tour. He was actually in New York and headed to Florida, and this was a great stopover for him.
Yeah.
So I made some calls, and literally within 5 minutes, I was on the phone with like 2 of the guys from the show, and they just had scheduling conflicts. But I just ask questions. I just call people, and you never know if you don't make the call. You can't get the yes or no question. So anyway, so I started talking, and I was like, all right, Spruce Pine Alien Conference and Expo Space, it all fit together and kicked it off. And then I was going to continue it, and then COVID happened, and then delayed it for a couple years, and then just my career has just been on fire. And the lady from Southern Shows, Aaron Holman, was going to take it over. He's a big comic guy. He does a lot of comic festivals. He's going to take it over, and then something happened, and she's taking it over, and I hope she does a great job with it. I'll support her. I'm glad my mission was accomplished. I wanted to prove you can do anything.
Yeah.
You just got to do it.
Exactly.
And contrary to popular belief, the town, the county, they didn't support me financially, and I don't blame them. I understand their position. I'm not saying I agree with it, but they absorbed a lot of soft costs that people don't see with the festival. Trash pickup, bleachers, snow fences, organization, law enforcement. They absorbed a lot of costs that people don't see behind that. I had a ton of support, and I think they supported, and as we all know, if you start getting the town and the county to give you money for a festival, then taxpayers get upset, justifiably so.
Right. Sure.
Right? And especially if they didn't know this from me, from Adam. So anyway, Space Festival happened. Huge success. It was a lot of work. I don't think I slept for like 3 or 4 days during that whole thing.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was just so exhausted because you can't find help. Because you can't pay people to come to work. You sure can't get them to volunteer.
Right.
Yeah.
But I had a core group of like 8-10 people that were always there. But while we were there, Jeff Harding came to me. He's like, this whole music part of this. He's like, what about doing a music festival? And what was it, 6 weeks later? Yeah, 6 weeks later, we did Toe Jam.
Yeah.
And
so it literally the genesis of that was just right then.
Right there. Jeff and I were
so you organized literally that whole thing in 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Wow.
And at Space Festival, I started planning it February the 2nd, and it went off the first week of June. So this whole thing, you need a year to plan and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
If you're driven, you can do it in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
If you do it well, you can probably do it in 3 months. If you want to do it at a comfortable pace, it probably takes a year. Yeah. And I'm a maniac. I don't believe in comfortable. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do and go. So
that's why we all love you, Jimmy.
Well, and you don't give people time to find something to complain about.
That's a really good point.
You just do it.
That's a really good point.
With the Toe Jam thing, I'm like, I'm going to put on a rock show. Look, I'll go on the record saying this. Everybody knows this. I hate bluegrass. I absolutely hate it. I don't like it. The sound of it is just,
Nails
born
on
and
the
raised here.
chalkboard. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I can watch people play it all day. If it's on the radio, it's all I can do to rip the radio off because I can't stand the sound of bluegrass. I'm a metal guy. Everybody
Right.
knows I'm a metal guy. Right. And I'm like, so I want to bring a rock
As
show.
I wear a bluegrass shirt on the podcast,
look,
a local bluegrass from Town Mountain from Asheville.
Look, if Jody Lovelace was
Shout
here,
out Town Mountain.
he would slap me in the face right now for saying
Right.
And I love him for it because he's not wrong. Just because I feel that way doesn't mean I'm right. I just don't like it.
just
It's
your
not my
opinion. Sure.
thing.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I appreciate
100%.
it. Just like I like acid jazz, and a lot of people can't tolerate
You're
it.
crackling again. I don't know who it is.
So my watch.
Shouldn't be.
Wah, 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 wah. Maybe I'm just on fire. I'm electric.
Did that again?
Yeah, when it waves the iPad.
Okay.
Dang, that's crazy.
So, but the toe jam thing.
Oh, you got to put it back.
You know, I just love rock music, but I did make considerations for what I felt would be appropriate for the town. And the vision for me was I grew up here and I started sneaking out playing in bands at 15 years old.
Yeah.
I literally stole moonshine out of my dad's patrol car that was evidence. And I gave a guy moonshine.
What's the statute of limitations now? Can you say that?
He's retired. It is what it is. There's no proof. It's 100 proof. But I traded a guy moonshine to take me over to Johnson City to play my first gig in a bar at 15.
Wow.
May have been 16 at that time. I've slept since then. But I didn't think that he'd be in the parking lot drinking the whole time. The moonshine that I
It's
gave
supposed to
him.
bring you back.
So after we played our little opening gig or whatever, I was in one of those I Hate My Dad punk bands at the time.
Right.
And which I didn't hate my dad, which is the funny thing about it. I love my dad, but you're a ragey kid, right? So I got out there and dudes passed out. So I ended up driving a like 72 Ford Torino over Iron Mountain without a driver's license or anything.
Wow.
But anyway, I was like, I want to showcase local talent. I know a lot of people in our town can't ever afford to go to rock shows. I've had the fortune to see Motley Crue, Kiss, Lenny Kravitz, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, everybody. I've seen everything.
Yeah.
I've seen it all. And I had that, and I was like, people here don't have a lot of money. So, like, I want it to be free. I want to give them a rock show. So I spent the money and got a huge professional stage. I mean, that stage that was here toured with White Zombie after it left here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a touring stage, and I wanted to get as much local talent as I could. So we got a lot of talented folks here. I mean, like you and you're an awesome drummer too. And when you grow up here, you have nowhere to play.
Right.
Yeah.
And now I'm not taking credit for this. I just think it's the right time. So I don't misunderstand. I just think it's the right thing at the right time. But look how many places have live music in Spruce Pine now after Toe Jam.
Oh, absolutely. It really boomed after that.
Well, you know, I identify with that because, you know, when I was young, you know, me and Aaron Buchanan and Justin Hollifield, you remember that whole with Cheapskates and all that. Live music works here.
It does.
I can tell you that firsthand. It really does.
Yep.
And, you know, it may be crusty punk rock like we had, but we did
is
a great,
awesome.
job with it. Like and shout out Aaron Buchanan. That he was the master. He was the brains and
That place was awesome.
the hands and the feet behind all that. And and I won't ever forget that. And I think you're touching on something. I think it really does work here. And
It does. And, you know, back to whether I like bluegrass or not, the fact we got the Bluegrass Festival here is huge. And I wanted to double down on that. I mean, I mentioned earlier when we were talking kind of pre-show about the Michael Jackson tribute band. I want to go that route. I want to have pop acts here. I want to mix it up. I want to have bro country, even though it's also not my favorite.
Me too.
But,
a lot of people love it, though.
They do. It's basically 80s hair metal. It's like the 80s hair ballads with the country twang.
Yep.
But,
with a fiddle and a slap steel.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
But, you know, it's cool, but it ain't about me. It's about this town is fueled by the arts.
Yeah.
All right, let's break it down on that like for a minute and talk about like the history of this area, the mountain Appalachian culture.
So true.
Everybody was banjos on the front porch, picking acoustic guitars, Penland School of the Arts and Crafts, the gem mining here, all the textile stuff here. It's a history of the arts, more craft, but I consider music a craft and an art. Depending on
music
what
was a
you're doing.
huge part of this community
It
from
always
the
has
very
been.
beginning.
How many churches, you know, have live awesome musicians every Saturday?
We were talking about, you know, me and Josh were talking about the other day, almost every musician I know that's especially from around here started in church.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I know Almost
my mom
every
did,
one of them
my
did.
dad did.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Music's alive here.
it is.
And there's something magical about this area. Again, back to the water, the crystals, the UFO sightings. I don't know what it is. We're an artsy people. Think how many craftsmen we've had here.
Yeah.
You know, B. Hensley Studio, Woody's Chair Shop,
Ray Dellinger.
Luther and his clocks. Yeah, right. I mean, it just goes on and on. The arts are like, we should be capitalizing on it.
Yeah.
We should be
1,000%.
capitalizing on it and
I remember
pushing it.
I remember when I was young. I remember walking into the what was the Twisted Laurel Art Gallery
Yeah.
downstairs,
Yeah.
downtown, and I saw a piece of John Littleton's glass blowing, where he had literally blown a human face into a glass block, complete with the eyebrow details, the eyelashes. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
And that made a huge impression on me. It's like, oh wow, like it's more than just, because I think a lot of people around here don't know what they're looking at. You know,
They don't understand it.
they don't understand. And we talked to Alex Glover last week. We don't understand what we're sitting on.
Oh, I know, right?
We really don't we don't understand the power and really the importance of this area. Like and I think that's going to become a theme probably of this whole
It should.
thing that we're doing.
The value of this area.
That's what I think is important about it. And I like the story behind the Hollercast naming, but it's so accurate. It's because I might have internalized, again, I'm a marketing guy, but I might have internalized the message, because it's not just a Hollercast. We're all screaming, hey, we got to move forward. You know, we're actually hollering from the hollers. Like,
We are.
Look at us, man.
Yeah.
Because it's a magical place. My whole theme with growth and progress and the Space Festival and Toe Jam, and I do a bunch of stuff behind the scenes. I've got other projects that I'm working on. You know, that my wife's a huge contributor to this community, but she's quiet. She's and I are very different. I'm a very in-your-face person. She's like actually getting shit done that matters.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that there's just so much here right now. My only concern, and I think this is everyone's concern, we've got to progress, but we've got to preserve what makes us us.
Simultaneously,
Yeah, 100.
That's the whole thing.
100%.
So I toyed with the idea of running for commissioner or something, and then I realized like I don't ever want my hands tied by a political label.
and they would be.
That's right.
1,000%.
I get more
Yeah.
done by just
doing it.
If I'd put together Toe Jam 6 weeks, somebody would have said, oh, he's using county funds, or he's like taking advantage because he's related to somebody, and I ain't related to nobody here. I'm just a no-name hillbilly like the rest of us. But the thing is, like, I wanted to operate behind the scenes, but when I was toying with the idea of running for commissioner, my whole platform was going to be progress through preservation. That was my whole. But that's what I live, right? I mean, I'm pushing the needle, and I hope I'm inspiring people. And I think what I started out to do, I accomplished, because more people are trying to put on festivals. More people are trying to do something to help. And then we got a ton of freaking negative people out there, as I mentioned to you earlier, that are ticking me off. So,
Yeah, it seems like there's
an overabundance of negativity everywhere in the public space, but
for sure.
And it's, you know, we all seem to, or I do anyway, I seem to like hyper focus on national level events and politics. But when you look at local level stuff too, it's the same. It's right there. It's the same.
and that's really what
amount of
matters
negativity.
at the
It
end
is.
of the day.
It is. Local is way more important than national level stuff.
I think especially during Trump, it was one of those things where it was like a show, like a dog and pony show every day, and you couldn't do anything but paying attention to it.
Yeah, you
and
couldn't
quite
get off the
honestly, I
TV.
found myself like looking so much at that I was ignoring what happened on the community level.
Yeah.
And I've been reminded through doing things like this and starting something like this, how important that is.
Yeah.
It's unbelievably important that we pay attention to what's going on locally. And unfortunately, that negativity that you see and the infighting and the clash that you see on the national level has now made its way to the local level.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's only a matter of time before it did. I mean, but
Fueled mostly by social media.
It is. And what's funny is social media gives voice to negativity, and it doesn't fuel action.
right.
No.
It fuels complacency because you can't be showing up to support the businesses when you're at home or on your phone typing your complaints.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and
Exactly.
that's the thing that I would challenge people to do in our community. This is an easy thing to do. If there's a free festival or if there's a free event in town,
Go.
Just show up.
Yeah.
And if you love the social media, take a bunch of freaking pictures and
Live
post
stream
them
it.
online.
Yeah.
Live stream it on Facebook.
Go into businesses, and even if you're too broke to buy anything, I get it, man. I understand. I've been there. If you're too, take a photo of it, post it online, that somebody else might see it who does want to buy something from a local
That's so
business.
true.
It's not hard to support people. You just got to show up.
Yep.
That's my one of my biggest gripes is, and we talked about this before the show, about the negativity piece. I love criticism. I love when people criticize me because that, if it's well constructed or if it's based in some form of reality, it makes me think and challenges me to be a better person
Yeah,
or
sure.
make better decisions, whatever. I love criticism. Negativity, I have. There's no call to action. It doesn't move anything forward. It is just a weak way out.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're dropping the mic. Everybody thinks they're saying the most revolutionary literary statement in the world. Online, I'm speaking of. People say something like, "Oh, well, that's a terrible idea because this, and we tried that, and forget about it. It all sucks. Everything sucks."
Right.
Instead of like maybe using, if you've had a bad experience, maybe use that to advise people who are trying to do something different
Yeah.
to avoid pitfalls. Try to help.
Sure.
There's
Sure.
ways to turn that around. The negativity, I'm sick of. I'm over it.
Well, I've also, one thing, Jimmy, with you is, you've put your hands on the plow and done it yourself.
Yeah.
And I've long said, if you got the vision, you got the job. A lot of people want things. A lot of people want, things from the town. They want things from the county. Well, I was talking to Jeff Harding today. Have you volunteered to pick up trash? Have you? And I'm not saying, I'm honestly speaking to the choir.
Yeah, me
I'm a busy guy just like everybody else, but you know what I mean? I could probably take some time out of my busy schedule to do something menial like that. Those things mean things.
Yep.
And you see the members of the community that are out there doing it.
Yep.
And I wouldn't dare, I would say, I wouldn't dare hate on those people at all because those are the people, the wheels that drive what we do here.
Well,
It's not always glamorous either.
it's not.
Yeah.
But,
No, very rarely is it glamorous.
No.
I don't care if you pull an Ingles parking lot and grab a shopping cart that's rolled over to Jeff Gooch's place and push it back on the lot.
Right.
I don't care if you just do that. If you pick up a plastic bottle and throw it in the recycling or whatever, just any one positive action a day. I challenge myself. I fail a lot. But my challenge myself is to positively impact one person every day of my life. Sometimes that's just calling a buddy of mine and saying, "How you doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Letting them know
Could
here.
number 3 move a little bit closer?
Yeah, sorry, am I getting too far away?
Yeah, you're
I get all relaxed. But I try to challenge myself, try to positively
You can pull it towards you if you want.
Yeah,
then
you
I'll
can
lay
move it.
back
Yeah,
here.
yeah, there you go.
Get all chill. But, and like I said, I feel about that every day because I'll be on a plane or I'll have some excuse or I'm tired or I wuss out. And I don't have any excuses, man. I mean, I've been through some hardships in life, but I'm still here.
Yeah.
And, if you start realizing, like, if you start for a minute, just think, how many people in the world don't know where their next meal's coming from, right?
Sure.
Then let's take another deep breath. How many people in this county don't know where their next meal's coming from?
A lot
That
more than
number-
you would like to expect
That's right.
or like
Blow
to
people's
like to
minds.
think.
It would blow people's mind.
That
The
number
fact
would
that
blow
in
their minds.
2023 we have starving children in this town,
Yeah.
it's
By the way,
insane.
Meals
It's insane.
on Wheels needs volunteers.
They need help.
Yep.
Yeah.
Put that out there for sure.
And that's the kind of programs that serve the underserved. And you go and talk. I've spoken to a number of the Meals on Wheels people, and I can tell you right now, those are the people you'll find that'll know where the poverty is, where the things are that are hidden even in this community.
Yep. A friend of mine who taught for many years has told me there's many kids that go to school, and that meal they get at school is the only meal they get.
Yeah, and some of those kids got their deadbeat parents that steal their food and take it back to Walmart for refunds, and then buy beer and cigarettes or whatever they do. It blows my mind. If anybody thinks that that's not the reality, dude, go talk to Chief Summerlin for 30 minutes and ask
Very
him.
much the reality.
Talk to any Meals on Wheels volunteer. Talk to
teachers, anyone in the
what's
school
the
system.
guys up here at the end?
Neighbors Feeding Neighbors.
Neighbors Feeding Neighbors. He's a good one to talk to. He'll tell you.
I'm glad you brought them up.
Yep.
So I want to share a statistic. So, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I'll pull them up at a later date. But before Neighbors Feeding Neighbors, Mitchell County was on the top 30 food insecurity counties in North Carolina.
Wow.
We didn't make the list. We're no longer on that list for food insecurity. So what they're doing is working.
That's awesome.
Well,
Wow.
McDowell County is on the list.
Really?
McDowell County's doing worse than us when it comes to feeding its own people.
Holy cow.
So that's a positive.
Oh, yeah.
So what they're doing with the food banks, Shepherd staff, our Catholic Church food bank, First Baptist, everybody, that to me, that's saying, that's what I'm talking about earlier. Show up. Do something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and there are positives around here.
And you said the right thing. If you have the vision, you got the job.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yep.
I had never done a festival in my entire life.
Seriously.
Ever.
Yeah.
Before the Space Festival. Ever.
Really?
Never done
That's
a festival
crazy.
in my entire life. Never even been involved with a festival. Never been around any planning. I just started with this word safety. I wanted to be safe, and I went down the list what I was trying to accomplish from there.
Yeah.
I'd never done a festival in my life, ever. And what's funny, and I share that because the feedback I got is most people thought I'd planned it for a very long time, and I did this for like a career or something.
Right.
I did.
Yeah, honestly, I would have thought that too.
Never done
I
it
did.
in my life.
I thought that that's something you just did.
What is your background in, Jimmy? What do you do? I mean, you
sure.
don't have to go into great
No, I'll tell
detail,
you.
but what do you do for a living?
It's really kind of boring. I sell technology to retailers, and you've seen a camera or a cash register, self-checkout machine, digital signage, security systems, any technology that's in a retail national accounts. I sell them that stuff
Awesome.
at a national level. So I travel throughout the country, just going to corporate headquarters, meeting with national retailers, and in short, I'm Big Brother.
Nice. Always watching.
Yeah, it is.
Always watch.
It's a lot deeper than people think. It's not
I
quite
can
CSI.
Yeah.
It's worse.
I
in
started to
some
say
ways.
it's far more nefarious than CSI.
It's worse. Everybody is. No one cares about your privacy. No one cares about what you're doing in your personal life, but they do care how much you're spending in their location and how do they get more money out of your wallet.
Yep.
Wow.
That's all. That's what drives all of it.
Right.
There's some that do it better than others. There's some that do it great, and there's some that really care about safety and security. And I've seen it push more that way in the past couple of years, but it's interesting. Technology's changed everything. COVID changed everything. So I got
It did.
heavy technology background,
COVID changed everything.
but funny caveat that whole story. I got my start at Whitson's Electric. I worked for David Whitson pulling wire.
Really?
Yeah. Shout out David Whitson.
That's it. It's my boy right
David
there.
and Stephanie,
I
great
owe
people.
Everything I am
Pillars
today,
of this community.
I owe everything I am today to David Whitson.
Yeah.
All my skills. Now, I took the foundation he let me learn there and grew and grew and grew it. But, I mean, I don't have a college degree. I've been to college, but I didn't finish. Having kids young kind of changes your life.
Sure.
But I've always worked hard. And it's just like you said, there's opportunity in this world. You just got to do it.
Well, there's opportunity here in this county.
100%.
Well, if
just
we
gotta do
learned that last week for sure, right?
Yeah, we did.
We were talking about with Alex how many like high tech jobs there are right here, just in the mining industry. Like it's unbelievable.
Yep.
The opportunity that you have here, and I really don't think people have to invest in the community, and if you can't invest financially,
Show up.
I think you invest. Yeah, you invest with your time and your attitude and your
Attitude.
Well, going back to
Attitude.
negativity, negativity, getting online and beating on your keyboard is a way for them to, or a way for me, because I do it too, for everybody. I won't say them, but a way for us to do nothing but feel like we've done something. I
False
think
sense of accomplishment.
It is. It is a false sense of accomplishment.
You feel like if you make a wise ass remark, a witty remark, get the last word, you've accomplished something.
and you've not done anything of value.
No, think how many communities this size throughout the country are having the same complaints, the same arguments.
Sure.
I tell you, I travel everywhere.
Sure.
And every major city all the time. I was in Austin, Texas this week. I'll be in Richmond, Virginia, I think next week. Minneapolis, Minnesota, just a couple weeks before that. I was in Myrtle Beach last week. I'm all over. Yet I can't wait to get home every weekend. I'm spoiled. When I grew up here, I really thought that the Andy Griffith Show was the story of me and my dad in Spruce Pine. We'd go to Days Drug. I go to the news center, buy my comic books, go fishing at Deer Park Lake. My dad was a cop. I mean, it was like Mayberry.
Right.
And
I literally lived the Andy Griffith Show.
I did. I literally did. And I think back real hard, look at pictures like, okay, was I distorted? Did I have a, how you remember things different? They get
Rose-tinted
dreamy.
glasses.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
misremembering it. And to a degree, obviously, I was young, but it was better. But the problem is, and with that mentality, it's a failure to think about how it was. Here's the pictures of how it was. Look how great, how awesome. Doesn't mean a damn thing now.
No, it doesn't. It does not.
I don't care that Hickey's supermarket was Rexel Electrical, back in the day, or whatever it was, or there was a bowling alley where the Habitat was. I don't care about any of that stuff from a progress standpoint. I cherish it from a memory standpoint.
Well, and that's one thing I will. That's one thing I will say that I do appreciate the people bringing back the history.
Yeah,
and this is what. The way I look at this thing is we can either choose to fight with one another or we can choose to work together. So if you really want the best for this community, there are things I appreciate about, even some of the, not to these people, but even some of the things that I see online, I do appreciate bringing back the history.
Sure.
It's just accompanied with a lot of very negative stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Celebrate it. Don't victimize other people or use it to blame and shame people.
Because a lot of things have
obsess over
happened
it.
in between when Spruce Pine had its heyday. I think, in particular, Spruce Pine, I mean, you go to these, to like the Midland Gym Festival, and I look through those like history photos and stuff. This was a thriving place.
Sure.
Like,
yep.
Unbelievably thriving.
So, but let's remember also, rural America in general was a thriving
It
place.
was.
Yes.
It was.
And everybody took a hit.
I think a lot of it too has to boils down to personal, individual mindsets, and this is something that really stuck with me when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Shout out to Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
If anybody, if you've never heard of that
check
book,
that out.
read it.
Okay.
Read
Yeah,
it. It is
I've
an
read it.
amazing
It's
book.
powerful.
There's an audio book on YouTube. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki completely changed the way I think about not just money and business, but the world. But anyway, I've seen, and I used to be guilty of this myself, and this is something I try very hard not to do, but that you look at a problem and say, well, I can't do that. Okay, you say, I can't do that. That is a definitive statement. So instead of saying, I can't do this, or we can't do this, or this cannot be accomplished, which is a definitive statement, you need to turn that sentence into a question. How can we do that? Mm-hmm. How can we do this? How can this be accomplished? Once you turn it into a question, it becomes possible. If it's a definitive statement that you can't, it is completely impossible, and you will never, ever, ever see it any other way.
Sure. Sure. No, I like that thinking. I operate on something similar, and I challenge people to do the same thing. When you have a challenge, because I like to use the word challenge over a problem. I mean, you're trying to solve a challenge. What is the outcome you seek? That's my favorite question. So with whatever you're trying to do, what's the outcome you seek? Why? Why are you doing it? What do you want to do? You know, and for us moving this town, Spruce Pine, specifically Spruce Pine, the county at large, is I'm not disrespecting Bakersville. I'm not. It's just a numbers thing. It's just there's more population and draw here. But I love Bakersville too. I'd love to see more draw there. But how do we move Spruce Pine forward? It's, you know, there's a lot of people are operating in the chicken and the egg mentality that if we had these businesses downtown, we draw these people. And there's other people like, well, if we had people downtown, we'd open businesses, cater to the people. Yep. And that's, it's just, it's not solving the problem. It's back up to we can't, you know, we can't open a business because there's no people. We can't get people because there's no businesses. How do we solve for that? And I don't know. I've been trying to solve, you know, I was like this whole back to Zan when the whole festival thing started. It's like, we need a festival like that. He's like, I was complaining about nothing to do. He's like, well, what are you doing? And I was like, you know what, Zan, you are right. What am I doing? I'm going to do this thing. But everybody's got to act in unison. Back you're saying we all got to come together. Yep. If we're going to solve this challenge, if we're going to address this, it's got to be a community simultaneous effort. We don't need a bowling alley. We don't need a one business to save it. It's going to take like a half dozen. Businesses
or
with
more
solid at a minimum and solid business plans.
Well, and you know, that makes me think of one other thing too, is people always look to government to solve everything too, even local government.
Yeah, they do.
I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter who's in charge. Honestly, largely does not matter. It does matter, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I do.
Somebody like you took the reins and just did it.
Yep.
And honestly, what I was getting ready to say when you were talking about it earlier is any festival that's going to be sustainable, or any event or whatever, restaurant, business, whatever you want to do, venue, it needs to be self-sufficient first. It can't depend on the government. Not everything. The problems are not largely going to be solved by government.
Well, government doesn't produce.
And that's what I said. You know, they didn't fund it, and I understand why.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I didn't want financially to help and could do more with it.
Sure.
But, and I'm not saying that I'm not going to ask for it in the future, but I'm just saying that it's not their job.
No.
It's their job to govern, not fund.
Exactly.
It's in a handout society.
Well, I think the ideal model would be you get something up and going, it's self-sufficient, then the town kicks into, you know, or the local government might kick in to help.
Yeah,
that point.
there's a lot of
you have to prove yourself first.
That's right. You got to have a plan.
Yeah.
I would say, here's free money, go have a failed hot dog stand.
Well, the government could do. The government can't produce, but the government absolutely can stifle and hinder.
Oh,
so if we look to government to help with growth, then we need government to offer incentives, tax incentives. To businesses to come here.
Sure.
That's really the only way I can think of that they can help to deregulate rather than regulate or be affirmative, I guess.
Yeah, and you know, there's also something people need to put in perspective. Our local officials are just that. They're local officials.
Right.
They're not career city planners, politicians that went to college to understand how to run a city or a county. They're our friends and family.
Yeah.
So they're not going to have all the answers, and expect them to have all the answers and make 100% the right decisions is ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. They need help. And if you've got a criticism, document it.
And offer a solution.
Offer a solution and let them know the outcome you seek.
Yep.
If you've got a problem, back to my other frustration, if let's say the government takes an action, read what that action is, comprehend it. If you don't, get someone to help you to, and then believe what that document states.
Yep.
Because we said earlier, the problem I see is a lot of times actions taken and people don't read what the action is, so they don't understand it, and they build a narrative on their belief of what they think a title of a document is. And if they do read it, they may not comprehend it or misinterpret it, and then or they read it, comprehend it, and just don't care and just blatantly want to get mad about it. Which they're right to have all those things,
Sure.
which is frustrating.
I think a lot of it goes back to, or boils down to, the fact that we live in a very lazy, clickbaity society.
Oh, the whole country.
So, and it is the whole world. I think at this point, the whole developed world anyway. Anywhere there's the internet, and social media is to blame for this, and news media as well. But I mean, you get very sensationalized headlines, and people read the headlines, they get there, and I used to be super guilty of this myself. I don't do this anymore. I absolutely refuse to do this anymore. And that's one thing, if we ever do have any kind of discussion on this podcast about local documents, local laws, local regulations, we will absolutely pull up the document itself, not a news article about the document itself. And I will go to great lengths to get those documents so we can read the actual document and get the information straight from the source rather than third-party sources that may have an opinion on it and try to drive a narrative, because any news outlet anywhere is going to be made up of people who have their own biases. But the issue of the clickbaity, sensationalized headline has now permeated into the local zone, and that's where you get a lot of people's misunderstanding of what's going on, and that's perpetrated by people or organizations who want to drive a narrative to seek a certain outcome, I think.
Josh, I've personally seen people that I know for a fact they are completely ignorant of what's going on. And that
doesn't mean they're stupid. Ignorance is very different from
this particular person was a little bit older.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't understand, and they see something like that.
Yep.
And they just, I better share that. Look, everybody's upset about it.
Right.
And when really that, in reality, that's 6 to 8 people that have a very strong opinion and just happen to be social media active.
Right.
So, talking about, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a big owner action date. If there's challenges, who's the owner fixing that? What's the action they're going to take? When's the day it's going to be solved? So in that mentality, if you had to look at a percentage of Mitchell County as a whole, what percentage do you think actually want to see it progress positively? Let's just say positively.
You're always good at these things, Josh.
That's a good question. I think it's split pretty evenly. Yeah, I think a lot of people see the past through rose-colored glasses with a sense of nostalgia when, like you said, rural America was booming, and they want to go back to that, and that's moving backwards.
Yep.
That's not moving forwards. But in order to get us to a place where we could potentially see growth to that point, we're going to have to move forwards. I think it's split pretty 50-50, though. I think it's split. I think it is, but I think it's probably more like 30-30 split, and then there's
60
probably
don't care.
40
don't care.
40% don't bother to care. Not that they don't care, but it's just that they're
just leave it alone.
They're
My
busy.
life's
Leave it alone.
I got my life.
I see a lot. I wonder often, when we're out at the moon dust or something like that, there's so many people that I know. Where do they go to hang out?
Well, that's a good question.
Or do they just stay at the house?
I stay at home. I'm a total homebody.
Yeah, we should ask you about this.
Yeah,
you are a homebody.
I'm a homebody. I stay out here. I stay here in my home, and I've got my freaky weird snakes and my guitars and stuff. I got all kinds of stuff to keep me occupied. But that's a good question, and I do think there's a lot of places to go hang out here. I'm not necessarily involved in the bar scene; it never really is my thing. I like to go see live music there, but the bar scene is not really my thing. I don't drink, which if you drink, it's whatever. I don't care, but I don't personally. So everybody's got their own interest. What I'm wondering is, what percentage, going back to the percentage and the splits, what percentage of the county is so busy just trying to survive and make it day to day and make ends meet that they don't have time?
I heard an electronic disconnect noise. I don't know where it came from. Something disconnected.
Check.
Check. Everybody okay?
Check.
Mics are fine, but I heard something. I heard
Oh, that was my email. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm surprised my phone's not ringing. It's always ringing or email going off. Yeah, that was me.
It's all good.
So
good.
I would say 75%.
They're so busy trying to survive and make ends meet that they can't and don't think about these issues. They don't worry about going to a place to hang out because they're working 2 or 3 jobs. I think that's the
reality.
Majority of the county right there.
Yeah.
Or they're on fixed income because they're elderly.
Yeah.
Or older.
I think that's the majority of the county right there.
All right. So that's all great. So where are the young people?
They're leaving.
When I say young,
They're leaving.
Post high school to 35, because I'm getting older. I never see.
They're leaving. They're gone.
They're not here.
I don't know if that it's as much as you would think. I think there's a lot of people here. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
It's like, I think a lot of people go to Johnson City to hang out. I think a lot of people go to Asheville to hang out. If they want to hang out.
Yeah.
I've seen, not to mention anybody, but I've seen a lot of people at Home Place in Burnsville hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go to
Which I don't blame them. I love Home Place.
I go to Johnson City all the time, but and you know this about me. I show up to see every local artist. I don't care if they're doing rap, bluegrass. I don't care. If I'm in town, I go support everybody that I can. And I just notice, like City Drive-In I'm often one of the younger people there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't mean that as a slam towards them. I'm just saying
it's just the reality of it.
And Hef's is kind of mixed. They have younger people, but it's just a restaurant.
Right.
It's not like an entertainment venue.
Right.
And the way I see it, we've got 3 entertainment venues between Beer Dock, Moon Dust, and City Drive-In. And sometimes the dispensary has something going on.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there once because their hours I never understand. But there's things going on.
Yeah.
It just disappointed me. I was happy to see so many people showed up for the rapper in town the other day.
Yeah, it was great. I wore his T-shirt.
I was so
week.
happy. God,
that's
made
awesome.
me happy.
Yeah.
It was, and he was
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
I wish he'd set was about twice as long, but I get it. And Tony's actually a pretty good rapper. Kind of blew my mind.
Tony's unbelievable. We're gonna have Tony on the podcast.
You got to.
Tony's unbelievable.
He's a mover and a shaker, you know. He's getting stuff done. So, all right. So next percentage question, or in regards to that, the split. Do you think people are afraid of change? One. Do you think that they're afraid of change if it's not exactly the way they think it should be? Or 3, they don't care.
I think it's the second one.
Yeah, me too.
Everybody has their preconceived notions.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I've noticed. There's very few people just in the world that want their preconceived notions challenged. And I wonder too, like, I guess instead of a percentage question, my question would be, how do we raise the GDP of the household, average GDP of our households in Mitchell County to a place to where they would care about entertainment stuff?
That is a brilliant and important question, because that's what I've been trying to figure out. how do we solve for jobs here? And it's not as simple as getting manufacturers here. Because,
No, it's very much more complicated.
because manufacturers have wanted to come here, and one of their statements is you have an unemployable workforce because you have so many people on disability, even if they're a working age.
Yep.
I remember.
But solving for jobs is an important thing to do.
Yes,
Yep.
it is.
Well, and Alex touched on this
And then
last
solving
week
for housing
too.
for those jobs.
There's just not enough people here to work. I mean, you know, he mentioned you bring like one of them a semiconductor plant here that needs 1,100 people to employ. We do not have the people here to
And
employ.
we don't have housing for them.
Well, we
No.
don't. Not only do we
don't.
not have that, but we don't have that kind of skilled labor here.
No.
We don't.
And that's something we talked about with Alex. Is we've got so many, but so many of those jobs, those high tech jobs in the mining field, are being filled by people from outside of here.
Yeah, because they're not here.
Yeah.
Because they're not here. And why are we not?
Why is geology and mining not like the highest program on the high school's list for training? Why is that not a first floor educational
Right, and that's
skill?
kind of I think
Mainland.
what
Yeah, Mainland, whatever. Not just welding,
yeah.
carpentry, but like mining arts
Mining.
or
Right.
you know,
Well,
the
that's what Alex was-
scientific piece of
I
it.
think that's where Alex was kind of trying to get at is like to make a program to where, when you come out of high school, you already got some of these basic things that you need, which I've said forever. Mayland is and I hope to have Dr. Boyd on here
Yeah,
at some
that
point
would
too
be
to talk
great.
to him. Mayland is a invaluable resource, and we're very lucky to have a community college of that. But it's starting to, and we're seeing growth in that area, and certainly. But I would definitely starting with the mining.
Yeah.
It
But you know what
needs to
though?
happen.
If the kids leave, they ain't got no students.
Yeah,
I know.
it's true.
We have to keep the kids here to get the students, to get the skilled labor, to bring industry.
Yeah, and that's as much as I love to solve problems, and I've been working on that one for years. I've got ideas, but I don't have solutions.
There's not an easy answer.
There's
at all.
not, man.
Well,
And I
I'll
was like,
tell you, it's coming back though. I think after COVID, post COVID like boom has been largely in smaller towns because
it has.
everybody wanted to get out of those
Well, here-
larger towns, larger
and America
cities.
is now funding with supply chain collapsing, especially China during COVID. Like Intel is building one of the biggest chip manufacturing facilities in the U.S. now. Foxconn's building the symbols iPhones and other stuff. They're building a plant in the U.S. I will tell you this because my supply chain for my technology is leaving China rapidly.
Great.
Because the supply chain's down.
That's awesome.
So America is in a position at a high level to bring manufacturing back. And guess what technology needs to be created? Clean water.
Yep.
A lot of energy.
Yep.
And they also need raw materials like we've got in our mountains. Duke Power, for a time, and this is a lot of people don't know this, but in Western North Carolina, when all the manufacturing left and the furniture operations shut down, all that excess energy was being dumped into the ground for a long period of time because it was cheaper to dump it in the ground than reroute the infrastructure.
That is insane.
So, have you ever noticed that Google, Facebook, and Apple's largest data centers are all in Western North Carolina? Siri lives in Lincolnton, North Carolina.
Wow.
Google lives in Forest City. Facebook lives in Lenore. No, I got this reversed. Facebook lives in Forest City, and then Google lives in Lenore.
Wow.
Their largest data centers in the country are here. Why? Cheapest price per kilowatt electricity in the country.
Excess of energy, yeah.
Cooler temperatures for the South. And fresh water for their cooling systems. There's a big flat piece of land right up there. Used to be called Henrydon. It'd be an awesome data center.
It would.
And it's got freshwater access. And those are high-paying technical jobs. I mean, they're not a lot of jobs, but kids could go to Mayland to learn computer science to get those jobs.
Yep.
It's a possible future. A lot of people don't like data centers because of the noise and stuff like that. When I hear the noise of a data center, I hear money being printed.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying.
Henry Don wasn't exactly quiet either.
No kidding.
I remember being up here. It definitely was not quiet.
Where I work is not quiet. Sabelco is very, very loud. Them rod mills are incredibly loud.
Well, in the finishing plant, you could get high just driving by, you know. You drive by Henry Don late at night, like, whoo, throw some extra coats on tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to float across the river here over to Springmaid. But yeah, it's there's big problems here, but big problems means big opportunity.
Sure.
So
yes.
that's the way you got to look at it, man.
Yeah,
And
amen to that.
I just want everybody to get along, man. I'm like Rodney King. Can't we all just get along? I mean, I just really, I don't understand. I love conflict with resolution, and I understand conflict. I don't understand. This is a complaint. I didn't like the way Taco Bell wrapped my sandwich in the drive-thru because they only got 2 kids working because nobody showed up. And why eating Taco Bell anyway, you know, or whatever, if you're going to be that mad about it, you know. Or I went to this restaurant and the service was slow. Another 2 people working with 20 people in there. It took them an hour to get to me. Just stop. Like, we all live here. These are our friends and neighbors or their kids or grandkids or whatever.
Yep.
Encourage, you know, if somebody's got slow service, say, hey, have you tried doing this? Be a mentor, man. That's what when you're older like me, you're supposed to be a mentor. You're supposed to be who your dad was to you or who his dad was to him or to at that time, the elders in the community used to keep us all in line because you were everybody's kid back in the day.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The negativity, hate gets me mad, the misinformation. What is that on Ted Lasso? Be curious, not judgmental.
Oh, absolutely.
Walt Whitman. That's so true. I've never got any tattoos, but that's one I actually considered because I think you should be curious. And I love what you guys are doing here, where you're bringing people out and bringing it in the positive. You know, I'm a marketing guy, so when I look at Spruce Pine, we've got Penland School. We've got the purest quartz in the world. That's all I need to sell this town. I'm going to tell you right now. That's all I need. That's more than enough. Because those are 2 things that don't exist anywhere in the
else.
world.
Yeah.
They're here. Talk about Littleton. Google Harvey Littleton sometime. Look at the impact he had on glass, on Corningware, on dishes, on the space shuttle, on everything because of Penland.
Yeah.
People don't know that the lens in the big Palomar telescope was made in Ledger. And a girl we went to school with, granddad was one of them who built it.
Yeah. That's wild. I didn't know that.
You know, it was made in Ledger.
Wow.
And
Harvey was who I meant. I think I called him John earlier.
John's his boy. But,
yeah.
But John Diblos too. It could be either one of them.
Yeah,
So,
it probably could have. I think
Harvey
this was
was
Harvey,
like-
though. Yeah.
the glass master. Sounds funny. But he was like, I went to Globo Gym or something there in my head. So, but anyway, I
haven't thought about that
Just
movie
went
in
sideways. But, there's so much here. And this rare quartz thing, I'm speaking of minerals. The chamber leaves the Mineral Museum. Everybody thinks Mineral Museum's closing.
No, it's not the Mineral Museum closing, folks.
And they've got other tenants as options. It's just a thing. It's business. Stuff changes.
It's just the Welcome Center, the Chamber of Commerce Welcome Center.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Chamber's got other options.
And they have to
can do
work out a
lot
deal
more.
with the Park Service for
That's
that
right.
building and all that. So that's
And it's a handwritten process.
yeah.
You can't even make a phone call to do those things. You got to submit stuff in writing, wait for replies. Anyway,
the federal government's hard to work with.
we got great people here. We got great culture historically. We got some problems with our current culture. We've got this gorgeous river through the middle of town. We've got this whole train history. Again, all I need is Penland and the mines, but we've got all this other stuff here.
Yeah.
And, I don't know that being a tourist town is cool, and I'm all for tourism, and I do think that should be a big push of the town because that is a model that would work here. But you only got a few months of the year to make money at that.
Exactly.
You're limited. Unless you get a great bus service up to the ski slopes, the boutique hotel, or if there was another hotel that ran folks up there with the shuttle service to the ski slopes, that could probably be profitable.
Well, my mom and dad had the Pine Bridge Inn back in its
I remember that.
infancy and its
Remember
kind
that.
of in its heyday, and my mom did an incredible job. But most of their winter business was, they benefited from having corporate business back in the day with the furniture plants and with CSX in particular. That was most of their through the week business. But mom, killed it marketing ski packages for these people. It was she would put together a package where it included their, the hotel room, the equipment, the lift passes, all in one fee. And
I have to believe that Dr. Boyd's got that on his brain somewhere.
I would, if he's not, I would highly encourage him to do so, because that was her bread and butter on the weekends during the winter for sure. And it, she did very well at that.
That makes sense. That makes sense, because it's ultimately not that far to Sugar.
No.
Beach is a little bit of commitment just because
and by the way,
not far. It's just
there's
the road.
not a whole lot of hotels in Banner Elk to this day.
There's not. Here's the thing, though, with tourism, do we want our town to become another Sphereville, Tennessee, or another? Because there's tourism would bring a lot of service industry jobs, but they're not high paying jobs. They're not.
Right.
Not skilled labor.
It's not skilled labor. It's not going to really increase. It will increase the revenue coming into the town and county, but it's not going to increase the household GDP in any meaningful manner.
That's true.
So I agree with you that it needs to be a percentage.
It's a component.
It is a component. It absolutely
is a component. It's the icing on the big cake that is the business. But the really it's got to be what people get to do when they come see their family that work and live here.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's the stuff to entertain.
Yeah.
When your friends come in, like mine do, from Philly or California or whatnot, and I take them to the city drive-in, and they love the whole shabby chic vibe of that place when I bring my friends in from all over. And I'm always looking for ways to entertain people when I bring them here.
Yeah.
I'm upset we lost Grassy Creek Falls.
Yeah.
Especially because, the county tried to buy it.
Right.
They did. And it didn't work out. But there's still a lot of stuff to do here. And it's centrally located to, Switzerland Inn, the Apple Orchard, Table Rock, Wiseman's View, Mount Mitchell, all the stuff you can operate in an hour drive from here. And it's a gorgeous hour drive if you're a tourist. But again, solving for jobs. Like my kid doesn't live here. He's 26. He doesn't live here because what would he do?
Exactly.
Now, he couldn't live here now because he works from home. He's got a remote job, and that's some things we could attract as remote employees.
Absolutely.
We should be targeting a lot of those. It's going to be curious. We were having a conversation in my office this week with my team about the return to work. How many offices, Amazon had 50 buildings, 50 buildings in Seattle before COVID. I think they're going to come out with 15.
Wow.
Because, one, they've completely killed business units that weren't profitable.
Right.
And they're started shrinking because so many people working from home.
Yeah.
So I know in my community, Swiss Pine Lake, we've got at least 5 families off the top of my head that moved here because their companies in Columbia, South Carolina, Greenville, Raleigh made them remote employees. So they moved here. Yeah. And these folks are young. They got new babies young.
Do you think that's going to be a something that we see more of in the future is remote work?
If we had great internet.
Yeah. Just as a whole, America as a whole, in the Western world, do you think we're going to see a kind of going away from the traditional, cubicle 9 to 5?
For a while.
Yeah.
For a while.
How do you think that's going to go? Because
it's going to collapse after about 5 years.
I kind of figured that too.
Here's the thing: humans are inherently lazy.
Sure.
And if you don't believe that, why does any restaurant have a drive-through?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Why does DoorDash exist?
And then the next step, why did DoorDash? You were too lazy to get out of your car. Now you're too lazy to leave your house. And I'm just being lazy just for the dramatization of it. I understand it's just convenience. But the point is, convenience rules. So what happens, and I've managed a lot of people, and I've watched this, and there are certain jobs that are more productive. Like I'm more productive from home because I don't have people Hey, Jimmy, did you watch the ball game? You know,
Sure.
What's going on, man? Haven't seen you in a while, wasting hours of my time talking to me.
I'm way more productive here.
Yeah, but
Way more.
I'm a hindrance to myself because I love to talk and I love to hear people's stories. So if I'm around people, I just want to talk. So I'm not productive if I'm around a bunch of people. However, my line workers or certain roles, the people who, even if they're doing a data entry job or pushing orders through largely paperwork related jobs, they work from home. They're super productive for the first 30 days. Then they're back to productive they were at the office for the next 2 months. Then it's a hockey stick decline to where they're super unproductive because they get comfortable. And they're like, I took the kids to school. I'm going to drink a bottle of wine, watch some soap operas, then I'll push some orders through. I'll do it whenever. What's it matter? I work from home. I don't need to do it as long as it gets done. Then it doesn't get
Takes
done.
discipline.
It does, and that's an interesting point. You know, how many people become intoxicated while they're at home doing their jobs?
Tons.
That's, yeah.
Tons.
And I know when COVID was a thing, like I saw a lot of videos on YouTube of people who would, excuse me, they would. There was these apps that would like move the mouse cursor for you and stuff, like
Show your activity.
Yeah.
Click through the open web pages so the VPN shows traffic and all that stuff. Oh, believe me, I know it's a lot. And I will say this also: there's a solution to that, but this is where's the weakness. You're going to have really strong managers, and we're taking away managers' ability to manage their people because of feelings.
Sure.
And crap.
Right.
And now you can't fire somebody without warning them 3 times and giving them all the help they need to succeed. And, you know, when I started managing people, it was really simple. I'd tell people if they didn't perform, I'm looking at next week's schedule and you're not on it. Well, now if you say that to somebody, you'll get written up, you know, because
absolutely.
feelings.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that was the right way to go. I'm just saying that's the way it was back in the day. And strong managers are hard to find, hard to keep, and that's what it's going to take to make remote work home. And if manufacturing starts driving back to the U.S., as I start seeing these chip manufacturers and things come to the U.S., those people need to be on the floor so you can make changes rapidly.
Sure.
In products and shipment, process, whatever. And you can't do that, send out an email, hope somebody reads it from home. Right. So,
no, you can't. You can't. That's an interesting take. I like that. I agree with you. I think that it's going to collapse.
About a 5-year run, it's going to collapse.
Yeah, I think so too.
Look at WeWork.
Right.
I mean, look at Facebook, Apple, not so much. Google, Amazon, HP, Twitter, Oracle, Fiserv. I'm talking people who've had more than 5,000 people layoffs this year.
Yeah.
How many people realize that their employees really weren't doing anything all day?
Yeah.
A lot of Twitter employees were
6-figure
talking to
jobs.
each other Twitter all day. 7-figure jobs.
God.
Did you see that video of that girl that's like did a TikTok about the day in the life of a Twitter employee?
Yes.
Or did you see that?
Yeah.
Drinking the wine dispenser on tap. Yeah.
Wine on tap.
Is it possible to pull that
Taking a nap. Yeah. I'll
We've not done this yet.
Yeah, we've not. This is going to be interesting. I'll send this to Noah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just get mad when people don't work.
Yeah.
And I know I'm a workaholic and they shouldn't work as crazy as I do, but
Noah, can you pull that
people
up?
should work.
Go to YouTube and search for a day in the life of a Twitter
Have you seen
employee.
this, Jim?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
It's worth another watch, though, because it is so.
We won't have audio. The listeners or the viewers will have audio, but we'll just be on the TV screen behind you.
Okay.
We'll be able to see it.
I love the Hollercast logo, by the way.
AI did that.
I kind of guessed. It's awesome.
We thought it was very apt to do the whole AI
Dude,
slant.
I'm telling
I
you.
typed the word Hollercast, so I did do that.
I wonder.
Put a lot of hard work into that, didn't you?
I wonder how many folks ChatGPT is doing their job every day.
Oh, dude.
Right now.
You're telling me if you were a
Marketing social media coordinators,
Yeah.
You're telling me if you were
find
a 15, 16-year-old and you were
just got
being
to
asked
drag it up onto that.
to write an
paper.
essay,
Drag
you
it up.
wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm
god.
telling you. It'd be a great essay.
We're trying it. We can cut this out if we need to. There we go.
All right, yeah, give me a full screen there. And now you can full screen the video and... Oh, wait. You got to hit the... Sorry, pause it just a second. On the Stream Deck, hit desktop so you can... Alrighty, is it shook? Do you see it now?
Yeah.
Have you seen the Stream Deck foot pedals, by the way? The
No.
foot controller?
Yes, they got the foot pedal. I saw
I
that.
need those. Okay, so is it on the podcast now, the video? And we're a little in the corner?
I pulled up camera for us so we can see all of you.
Okay, cool. All right, go ahead. You can start it all over.
Let me hear you start it. It's really hard to see from here because my crappy eyesight.
I know. It is for me, too. Oh, my gosh. Look at their lunch. Jeez.
Developers making $1 million plus a year.
That's unreal, man.
Yeah.
For a lightweight app.
Yoga mats.
Yogas.
I wonder what their meetings are like, what they actually talk about.
Plan to take over the world.
Right.
I think at the very end here, it's like, oh, a glass of wine.
Wine on tap at
At a
work.
workplace.
Oh, go out and play cornhole. And,
Can you imagine what one of those people would do if they had to come work your job?
oh my God.
At the mine?
Shoveling sand for 12 hours a day. Wet sand at that.
Dude, it's unreal, man.
There are
Build a-
days.
build a house.
But now you see,
Yeah.
here's what you got. You like something like that. And then you,
How do I pull back to the camera?
Hit cameras
but
on the Stream Deck.
there's something about like, and I think that's where a lot of people I've met in the building industry. I made a lot of people that are moving back here.
Sure.
Because it's buying a house, need to be repaired, whatever. And a lot of these people, I have a friend of mine now that his name's Thomas. Shout out Thomas. You know who I'm talking about. But him and his wife have been down in Raleigh, and I think they're anxious to reconnect with their roots. When you go from that to what you have here,
Oh, yeah.
It's a culture shock.
it's a
Well-
culture shock. But I think a lot of people they're yearning for that back in their life.
They are. And also, the cities are a complete disaster.
They are.
They are.
And I'm in all
Literal
of them.
dumpster
It used
fire.
to be San Francisco was horrible. Portland was the absolute worst. And Seattle was the second worst. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Austin it's just sad. They cleaned it up because South by Southwest was starting today, and they had all the construction. They cleaned up a lot, but I mean, when you see dozers moving tents, bulldozers, because that's what it takes, it's just disasters, and they're all.
Asheville's not
Like
far
that.
behind it.
Oh, Asheville's horrible.
Yeah.
Asheville. 2 days ago, they had a report. They're talking about that the problem with downtown is there's no police presence.
The Asheville Watchdog
Yeah.
article. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like-
curious. I think the second part of that's coming out here soon. That's not going to be, those guys are. They're
Yeah.
spot on, and I'm glad they're doing what
I
they're
am
doing
too.
because it is turning into that kind of thing,
You all forget that you wanted to defund the police, right? And you said the police presence to go away,
Yeah.
and you got what you asked for.
It creates a power vacuum,
Yes.
and that power vacuum is going to be filled with tyrants who have weapons and violent people, and they have no respect for the law.
Yeah, and there's
Criminals.
an article a couple months ago that Asheville was rated one of the top 5 worst cities to go to in America.
And that's so sad because it's
And
a
5
beautiful-
years ago, it was the
beautiful
top
place.
5 best places
Yeah.
to go to.
Yep.
But what does that mean for our little town? I think what it means is that there's an opportunity here.
Again, great challenges means great opportunities.
Yep.
And we have a phenomenal opportunity. again, I wish I had solutions. But these are hard problems, low education, like I said, people that are just struggling, spending most of their time just surviving, not even living. I mean, we got so many elderly people here that live in complete,
abject poverty.
Just
Abject
people
poverty.
cannot comprehend the conditions these forgotten elderly folks are here. And there's these big problems, but employment and all that. But there's opportunity because I feel, and this, you folks kind of stir hope. The folks I talk to, I feel that fire that everybody's getting. Hey, it's us. We gotta change this now, because if we don't, it's gone.
Right. Well, it is up to us. It's up to all of us to be the change you want to see.
That's it. And don't make demands of what other people need to do for you.
1,000%.
Don't tell people, well, I would come to town if there was a bowling alley. I would come to town if I had a shoe store. Well, open a bowling alley. Open a shoe store. Show me a business plan that makes sense. I'll help you get the funding. I don't care. I'll figure it out. And it can be done, but you better have a good damn plan.
Yep.
And it's not hard to come up with a good business plan. It's hard to commit yourself to the lifestyle.
Yep.
Because running a business is a lifestyle. It's not a job.
Sure.
And we need more young folks with entrepreneurial spirit that are willing to pull up their bootstraps, get off their ass, stop watching YouTube, and go work.
Yep.
And
I will say this: the high school has, I know my son's in it. They have entrepreneur classes at the high school, entrepreneurship 1 and 2. Is that right, Noah?
Yeah, I'm in entrepreneurship too.
He's in
right now.
Yeah, he's in the second. One.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Good for you, Noah.
I also took a financial business class.
So they
Principles of business.
Sweet.
There's classes there, and
So back up. They're offering a finance principles of business class at Mitchell High School.
Yeah, they offer business finance. They do entrepreneurship 1 and 2, and they did principles of business, but that changed to financial planning. And they do accounting. They do all of that.
First of all, every kid, if any of you have kids see this podcast, every kid needs to be in financial planning.
absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Screw Algebra 3.
Yep.
I even throw out Civ or English 2. Study financial planning.
Yes.
I don't care if you can speak. You better be able to do financial math because the world's getting more expensive and more critical to watch every dime.
It blows my mind how many kids, and even me, I graduated high school completely financially illiterate.
All of us did.
Completely financially
My
illiterate.
freshman year, we had, and this will date me, and then also give you a good opportunity for some pot shots. I took home ec, and they actually taught us how to write a check. They taught us how to write checks.
Call it that. But
when I
did
was a freshman, and that's probably the most important thing I learned in high school. But just saying, I wasn't the best student. Sorry. That's why I do so much for this county. I was a terrible, terrible kid. I'm making up for it. There's hope for everybody.
There is hope for this county. There really is. And
what's first step?
First step, I would say the first step would be to bring some kind of job security and jobs, skilled labor, bringing people's, improving their quality of life to a point where they can enjoy life and support entertainment and things like that. That's where I would focus. My energy and time. Because I mean, if you're working all the time, we can have all the music venues, bars, restaurants, and fun stuff to do here. But if you're working, 2 jobs trying to survive, you're not going to go support any of it. You're not going to be able to. Yeah. And I mean, we need to solve affordable housing. We need to solve for that first before we even consider bringing industry in here, because there's other people have to have somewhere to live. Even if they stay here or we bring them in wherever they come from, they got to have somewhere to live. They have to have somewhere to live that's affordable, and they have to they've got to have something to do.
Agreed.
You know, one thing Jeff told me today, you know, trying to keep it on the, you know, on the positive side. Do you know we've got upwards of $70 million worth of new projects and funding pumping into this community?
That's
right now?
awesome.
$70 million.
That's amazing.
And people say there's nothing happening.
Well, I'll share this, and I can share this because they did it work. You know, we had town halls not long ago. Sibelco is dedicated, I think it was $90 or $100 million into the spruce pine plants that they're investing in the next couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah, and they said they were going to create somewhere around 100 jobs.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I mean they said that in the town hall, so I know I can say that publicly. But yeah, so we're going to have a lot of job openings at Sibelco now. A lot of them are going to be technical jobs. There's going to be skilled labor, but there's a lot of them are going to require degrees and stuff, and I'm afraid those are going to get filled. People, from other areas, but there's going to be a lot of job opportunity, and there's going to be a lot of growth within that industry here too.
Well, there could be people moving here that would be, not that we're, we've always, I remember growing up when we were in school, there were always people here that were not from here's kids that we went to school with that were always
because of Sibelco.
And those people were valuable members of the community.
Sure.
And there are people, I even know people, shout out Bethany Chenoweth, her and her husband moved here from, I believe it was Indiana, or maybe they were in Nashville. I can't remember. They bought a house there in the English Woods, and boy, they have really, especially her, has really just invested back in the community. And I, for one, appreciate those people that are out from here. And then that shows you that when somebody moves to the community, that there's a desire that a lot of people have. I mean, look at some of the people that are more involved. A lot of these people are not from here.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people think the locals don't want you here. I was born here. Yeah. My parents aren't from here.
Right.
I know.
They're from, my mom's from Indiana.
Why would you not want someone here? I mean,
that's a misunderstanding.
Oh,
Here's
absolutely.
We want anybody who wants to come here and be part of the mountain culture. We want people that are willing to be mountaineers, whatever we define that is. I can't describe it, but I know it when I see it. I know what us mountaineers are. Don't come here and bring where you came from with you. Come here for here.
Yeah.
And we'll accept it with open arms.
And that goes for everywhere. I mean, I wouldn't go to Los Angeles and try to change it into spruce pine.
No.
I mean,
No.
Good point.
No.
As much as I would want to.
That is a very valid point.
You leave an area for a reason. You go to another area, you should go to the area for that area.
Yeah, and a lot of people, it's funny, when I've spoken very openly and bluntly about the growth, everybody's like, we don't want this to be, Gatlinburg or Asheville. Like, no, I want it to be the next spruce pine.
Exactly. We want it to be spruce
I just
pine.
want it to be the reboot of what it can do over again. And that's what all of us agree on.
Yes, 100%.
Well, again, anything sustainable has to be also be organic and genuine to where it's from.
It does.
Yeah.
But the reality is, in business and in life, you're either growing or you're shrinking.
Yep.
And that's just this town's a business at the end of the day. The county is a business at the end of the day. We're going to start getting to that point where if we lose people, don't have jobs, don't have income, we won't have fire departments. That's already a struggle right now.
I know.
Fire department's a huge problem.
That's terrifying.
What happens when there's no one volunteering to fight fires anymore? We had kids in school, and I know you guys did too, that their beeper on their back and leaving school to go fight fires.
Oh, absolutely.
That was
you were one of them.
I wasn't. No, I went on the department then. I was on Bakersville department briefly after high school, but I wasn't then. I mean, gosh, the Westviers, all of them were.
Yeah. They were
all of them. There was a bunch of kids in school with us that had their pagers going off, and they would leave, and some of the teachers too. And a lot of people, especially in your larger cities, don't realize that's a thing. Like, I mean, you live in a place like LA or San Francisco where there's paid departments. You think, that's a job you go to. You get out into rural America, it's all volunteer. All volunteer. There may be one paid firefighter position in this entire county.
I think there is one.
Yeah, and that's
the
it.
chief, right?
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Josh.
Not me. Not me. Not this Josh.
No. Josh Boone. Right.
Yeah.
I think Josh. Yeah, Josh still chief, but that's scary.
It is.
If we start losing too much, there is a breaking point.
Yeah.
And this is not going to be a popular statement. I'm a fan of enforcing the zoning restrictions that are in place in town and making people clean up their buildings, making people make them at least not an eyesore. If it's dilapidated, fix it. And
Well, that's some of the outside criticism that I've heard and that I happen to agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big
I do
fan
too.
of like, we got to start finding, and a lot of people are like, we need to find people for littering. Dude, nobody throws trash out their window in front of cops. There's no one to catch it. Nobody's like,
Right.
hey, behind me, whoosh,
Right.
give me a ticket. Like,
Right.
it's a problem, but the fines are everywhere. They double down when they see it, but you don't see it.
No.
When it happens. But
No, I agree with you
heavy,
100%.
I think we need to start doing really strong adopt a highway programs to make it a marketing thing, sell advertising so it pays for it and people clean up area. There's solutions for like the littering piece. There's ways to solve for that. The zoning piece, though, we've got so many areas in town that are just unsafe
Yeah.
because the buildings are just left sit there.
Yep.
But here's the good news. Lower Street is it's this close to being completely rebuilt from the fires, what's left on Lower Street.
That's amazing.
There's one
Very
building
close.
left.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And it took a long time, but it's there.
Is the door still there?
Door's gone. It fell down a few years ago.
Did it? Did it? I just shows you I'm a homebody, how much I get out.
The door was a good marketing campaign.
It
for
really
a while. I was
was.
living in Louisville, and I used to see that all the time. And I'm like, I'm in Louisville, and I know about the door in Spruce
Yeah.
Pine. People be hanging beads and stuff on it all the
Yeah.
time. And I'm like,
Well, it was a thing. Like, I met people from, all over that just come here to see the door. They were vacating in Asheville or Boone or whatever, and they drove here to see just the door. It was wild. It was the wildest thing ever.
That's a simple thing to do.
Yeah.
So let's think about that for a second. So there is a fence somewhere in Europe. I don't remember where, but everybody puts a padlock on this fence. Like couples go there and they put a
Yeah.
padlock with their name on it on this fence and hang it, and it shows they're locked in love, right? Simple thing.
right.
But there's photos of it all over the place. Everybody comes there to do that. There are, where was I at? Somewhere in California where Bob Hope lives. Palm Springs lived. I was in Palm Springs, and there's all these paintings of wings on all the walls, like angel wings, demon wings, whatever. And people would take selfies, and above the wings it'd say Palm Springs.
Yeah.
So people are advertising where they're at for free. Costs
Yeah.
you nothing.
Yeah.
You paint these things on there. Now, I'm an entrepreneur. I would say, hey, it's the town of Spruce Pine, put up these wings sponsored by this business to pay for somebody to paint the wings or put it up,
Right.
and then sell sponsorship for these signs every year. So you're making some revenue to keep it up, keep it nice, and then people come by and take pictures. Maybe we need to just plant a tree and fabricate a story, or make an event to make a story, and have a bead tree that everybody hangs beads on, or signs or tags,
Yeah.
whatever. Make a thing.
Oh, me and you, Jimmy, are going to go find that spruce
We are
pine
going to
tree.
find that tree, and we find it.
We're on a quest, by the way. Yeah, me and Jimmy are on a quest to find the original
We're going to
spruce
find the
pine.
tree. We better do it quick. It's starting to get green.
Yeah, I know, right?
The snakes, not your snakes, all the other snakes out in the wild.
I'll go for the snakes.
Yeah,
I'll
You go for
control the snakes.
Find the copperheads.
Okay.
I ain't seen a copperhead in spruce pine popper in a long time.
I've got one.
Do you? Well, you got you
it's-
got one here.
Yeah,
I
you've
mean,
got
like
African
hybrid
rhino,
creek fish.
pit vipers, and stuff, or whatever.
they ain't in here. No. Saying.
Yeah, I just let
should
them
have led
loose.
with that when I got here. Yeah.
I let them loose in the house. They keep
little-
the mouse population
Get a
under
little friendly with that little cottonmouth.
Dude, he's so cool.
Coppermouth.
Cottonhead.
You're a crazy person,
Cottonhead.
Josh.
He was
That's
so
what you
cool.
are.
He's got the coolest little personality. He has never struck at me, not one time. And I have.
You're still young.
That's all it,
He's
that's
still
all
young.
it takes, though.
He's
Is
well.
one time.
Crowfab's readily available everywhere, and if he bites me, it's going to ruin my day. But that's about it.
You know what he says to me? He's like, "Oh, it'll just be a tissue. It'll ruin my wig, but I'll be fine." I'm like, he's like, "Oh, but this one will kill me." It's like a relative thing. Well, this one will kill me. I'm only going to handle this one that won't quite kill me, but will just sort of endanger my life.
That's such a spruce pine kind of redneck mentality in a new
Yeah, it's
way.
It's
though.
fatalistic.
That's one of those.
It's fatalistic Appalachian culture.
It's like Josh's interpretation of "Hey boys, watch this."
Pretty much,
right?
yeah.
It's like you're thinking,
Hey, man, watch this.
Exactly. Some of us would jump off the train bridge, the Pine Bridge Bridge, and some of us would go jump off Linville Falls, and you handle snakes. It's all relative, man.
Yeah,
I
there
get
you
it.
go.
It's all good.
Yeah. Oh, no, I love it.
So, Jimmy, tell us about what's going on with the. I know you got a couple of events coming up. Give us the lowdown on the Toe Jam.
So Toe
what you know
Jam-
about that, and the '80s prom as well.
Yeah, so let me start with the 80s prom. So it's funny. Again, back to that, we're all getting older. And so many of the folks we went to school with, Brett Bullis is putting the whole thing together. And Brett and I worked at WTOE 1470. I got fired from there for playing Jane's Addiction over a church service. That's a different story, but it's a true story.
Wow.
And like I said, I wasn't the best example of a youth. It went from God bless to Jane says real quick. So
That's hilarious.
got in a little bit of trouble. Deservedly so. I mean,
Right.
better to burn out and fade away. Anyway, I was just saying, if you're going to get fired, being fired from TOE is a great story.
Right.
But Brett and I worked there, and, you know, a lot of folks we went to school with never went to prom because they couldn't afford it. I mean, so many of us grew up poor. We didn't know if anybody was poor or not because we were all poor, right?
Yeah.
But so he had this idea of this 80s prom thing, and the 80s weekend goes on up there at Banner Elk every year, and it's huge. And they decided to do a throwdown 80s prom, and it's going to be all 80s music, killer light show. I'm going to have video. I'll be mixing videos of all the songs that are playing. The videos will be playing as well. There's going to be some pretty fun dance competitions and whatever. And then Brett's got a fund. He's donating everything too. So it's like it's all for a good cause too. It's going to be a great time there at the Whitson Building. So Toe Jam, I was going to step away. I wasn't going to do it this year because I was too busy. And then I got that sting in the back of my neck where I just can't not do something. So this year, I'm rethinking Toe Jam. And while I will feature some local talent, there'll be some limitations and expectations around it, which simplistically, being able to show up and play classic rock songs isn't going to cut it. You got to have a show. It's got to be entertainment.
Sure.
I think that's the thing that's missing from Toe Jam. So I won't go into too much what that's going to mean yet, but I hope it means spitting blood and fire. So
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
saying,
Stepping it up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
going to.
Yeah.
And I think I've figured out how to fund it this year, and I think I can have it inside. I won't say the where yet, but where threat of rain won't be an issue.
Wow. Okay.
So maybe a portion of the show will be completely free, and then maybe a portion of it will be ticketed. And the whole goal of Toe Jam, you know, Jeff and I, what our goal was with, we were hoping to build it to a point where we want to have a scholarship for a boy and a girl, male and female, from Mitchell High School that goes to music. Because kids get academic scholarships, they get athletic scholarships. Being a musician myself, I want to encourage people to do that. So we want to, and we thought about it. There may not be enough kids for the music piece, but there may be arts in general. But people that are trying to expand their life and give them an option. So the whole goal is to give 100% of our time's donated. Jeff and I work hours and hours on it. There's not a dime made. We spend a ton of money on it. We fund it. And the goal is to, and if it ever made any money, it was all going to be donated 100% towards scholarship fund.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
So that's the plan.
That's awesome.
That's the plan. And we've got a little money left over that we store. We've always ran things, the event through the chamber, we'd plan it, and then they were a nonprofit. But the goal this year is to make Toe Jam its own nonprofit, even though I'm not a big fan of nonprofits. It's just easier if I have a nonprofit, then I can manage the alcohol piece a lot easier. I can manage the scholarship piece if it's set up that way.
Gotcha.
So that's the plan we're pushing forwards to. So, you know, when I first brought this big concert stage to Spruce Pine, I knew that I wanted to step it up. I wanted the locals to feel like they were playing in a big rock show, you know, to be on stage.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you want to play in a band, you have the dream of being a rock star and being on a big stage. I wanted to give the locals that experience. And I feel like I did.
Oh, sure.
Now I want to kick it up another notch.
Yeah.
Now I want it to be a rock show, a show being the key component. So
Yep.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
The show. It's not anyone's fault. It's just the expectation was never set, and I think if I set that expectation, people will rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's going to be demo videos for submissions required,
Good.
and there's going to be a committee.
A little bit too far away.
Whoop, sorry, I'll get all like that. Yeah, so it's going to be.
If you lean back, just take the mic with you.
Mic with you. But
Yeah.
no, there's going to be an element of performance is going to be critical,
Fantastic.
and I will say that it won't be limited to classic rock. It might be heavier metal. It might be Michael Jackson. Who knows? There's a lot that could happen.
Well, and
Katy Perry may be
Talking
there.
There
about-
you go. I'm wrong.
talking about performance, me, you've been there at the Moon Dust. There's a couple bands. Halloween,
Dude.
the Rewind,
Rewind.
put on a show.
Yes.
Sorry for
That's
that
all
you,
right.
word.
It's all right. It's all right.
But
Love you,
it's the
Lincoln.
truth.
Love you, Lincoln. No, it's
Yeah,
just
dude,
so
they're
good.
so good.
And
That was one of the more incredible live music experiences I've seen.
I love all the guys in that band, but Andrew, the keyboard player,
He is a
a
monster.
legend, dude.
He's a monster.
every band has that magic, you know. And Guns N' Roses, it was Slash, and Led Zeppelin, it was everybody. But the Rewind, he's the extra
Yep.
thing.
Well,
right?
he's a character too.
He is a
Oh man,
character.
it's great.
Up there in his
Brilliant.
socks, sweating his butt off,
Yeah.
sitting there playing with this hand, singing with this hand, and pointing with this hand, and
Yep.
his finger picking style for guitar is just like
incredible.
weird and awesome at the same time. Like, you're playing guitar like a bass, and I don't get it, but I love to watch it.
Yeah.
And Mark is a fun drummer. He's got a great
Oh,
sense
yeah.
of humor.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see their new bass player, who's
Yeah.
a Spruce Pinion. I don't know him personally, but I hope that works out for him.
Andrew's
If it
gonna
doesn't,
be down here.
maybe my schedule will slow down, and I might be able to play bass every now and then.
There you
Every now-
go.
Just saying.
There you
just saying.
go. I've got Andrew coming into the studio to track some stuff this tomorrow. Tomorrow night he's
God,
going
he's
to come
so
down.
good.
I know. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah,
you told me about that.
Yeah, one of my clients has hired him to track some piano stuff for some of his songs, so I'm very excited to have him down to the studio.
That'll be awesome. Selfishly, this year my band might play Toe Jam. I've never done it because of conflict of interest. I never want to get in the way, but I've never played a gig in Spruce Pine.
Well, man,
with
it's
my own
your band and it's your baby too. So
Yeah,
I mean, why not?
I've thought it's like the whole Perry Farrell, Jane's Addiction, Lollapalooza kind of first
Right,
thing,
right.
So I was
Nah.
like, but I think we're going to do probably only 4 or 5 songs, but they're going to be heavy. So maybe we'll close the show or something.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about, maybe doing a little bit of, we do a couple originals, but do maybe a Blind by Korn or something just to throw down.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Just to throw down. Just because.
That would be awesome.
So we're thinking a lot of different stuff. I think I'm going to do 2 stages. We've always wanted to do this. It's just never worked out because COVID, really, the players. But I'd like to have an acoustic side stage, have the main stage. That way, when the set change happens between bands and the main stage, the acoustic band can keep up so the
Yep.
music doesn't stop.
Yep.
It's
Right,
a nonstop.
keeps going.
Yeah.
Keeps going.
That's an excellent idea.
Yeah, so
I like that a lot.
and I've got the logistics figured out where I can kind of have an L-shaped format. So if people watching this stage, they just got to turn to the right, and I'll have main set sound booth here for the main stage, and then have the sound stage rig separate, 2 completely independent PAs, because and they're great sound engineers. Ambrose Sound, who does the sound, they can get everything in the monitors without being disruptive to the other band playing because technology, and they know what they're doing. So, and then they know how to put the levels on the mains once it starts playing. So, anyway, long story short, I got a plan. So
Awesome.
Very cool.
I'm excited.
and I want to do something different in the not quite Jim Rose sideshow Lollapalooza crazy, maybe so. I want to do something else entertainment wise in there, whether it's juggling chainsaws or street performers kind of thing.
Yeah.
that'd be
The
really
human
cool.
statue people or break dancers, whatever. I don't have that figured out, but I'd like to have that element also
Yeah.
of
Right.
there. People doing live art.
Yeah, I started
paintings,
saying an element of the
caricatures.
arts would be
Yeah.
cool. I mean, just
Yeah.
harkening back to everything that's around
Exactly.
Caricature
You know?
painting.
Yeah, all that.
here. Yeah, people would love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or if I had like a couple movable, like, okay, so in my head, I'd like to get like 4x8 sheets of, I'll say plywood. That won't be the material, but some material, and then have groups from the schools do a live aerosol art spray paint mural
Oh, that'd be so
live
cool.
at Toe Jam. Getting inspiration from the audience, words, and again, I don't have it all figured out, but this is what I'm thinking. And then when that's done, it could be hung on a building downtown and
That's so
beautify the
cool.
town, right?
Yeah.
So it's a self-perpetuating thing.
Very cool.
So don't have that figured out yet, but I want to work with Penland and the art teachers from the schools to help me bring that into focus.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
that
some
would be
great
so
people
cool.
at Penland you could, I think, would definitely be willing to get involved with
Yeah.
something like that. That'd be cool.
Well, and if I had a live glass blower, just get people interested in that, or even Sabelco, just do a mining exhibition, history of mining.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Again, but I'm saying I want another element of interaction and stuff, because people
Right.
like this band may suck to this ear. No, I'm not saying the band will actually suck, but the interpretation, somebody may not like that band, want to go do
Right.
something else. Or they
Yeah.
need a break from the noise.
Yeah.
They got stuff to do.
And of
So-
course, you're talking food trucks. And
Oh,
all the
yeah.
other stuff,
All that
the-
stuff.
the
Yeah,
basic
all that.
stuff. Well, Jimmy, how can somebody get in, if they wanted to get involved or get in touch with you or wanted to help you
Dude,
put this off? What's a good way to get involved?
it's really simple. Email me, and I say that because I'm on a plane a lot, and if you call and you don't leave a voicemail, I don't know you called.
Right.
So email me. It's jimmyhenshaw@outlook.com. I don't care if people have my email address. It's my name for a reason. So just email me at jimmyhenshaw@outlook.com today. If you're on Facebook, go to Spruce Pine Toe Jam on there.
So when are the date? When are we talking about a prospective date on this?
It's going to be October for Toe
October?
Jam. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I was going to do the historic day was Labor Day, but I love the whole Oktoberfest thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And I want to get John sorry, home place, you don't know this, John, but we'll talk. It's all good. But I want to get home place involved. I want to get the Yago at Beer Dock involved, and I want to do like Oktoberfest is going to be a component of that as well.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I want to grow that concept.
And what a
as
beautiful
component.
time to hit the tourists, to hit the leaf season, hit all that.
And again, from a marketing piece, Toe Jam's a great name, but Toe Jam Rocktoberfest has always just had a cool ring to it.
Right.
And I just like that. And it gives me some more time to plan.
Yeah.
So
That's great, man.
at the end of the day, that's
Awesome.
about it.
Sweet. Well,
Hey, I got one real quick thing. This is
No,
quick.
no, you're good.
This
Take
is
your
one
time.
quick
We got all the
thing.
time in the world.
So this is something fun I wanted to do. All right, this is called I don't really have an idea for this, but it's an exercise, and we'll call it the vibe.
okay.
So I'm going to say a word or a couple words, and then you guys give me the first word that comes to mind, only one word,
Okay.
to what I say, and then remember the words you say. You might want to write them down if you got a pen or something. Write down your answers so you remember.
See if he's-
So I'm going to say a word, and it's a word association. So think the first word that comes to your mind. So
Okay.
first word is spruce pine, and then we'll go through when you're done. Second word, Bakersville. Let me know when you're ready.
All right.
And if nothing comes to mind, nothing's an answer, just so you know. Third word, local government. That can be town, county, just what first word comes to mind, we'll say here, local government. All right, you only got 3 more. I only did 6. Educational system. Local educational system. First word comes to mind.
It has to be a single word.
Yeah, single word. Just one word. I know it's a challenge. There's a method to the madness here.
What if the word's a compound word?
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's what I
Hyphenated.
too. Yeah.
Hyphenated. There you go. So we'll say 2 words. That'll be fine. 2 words. All right. 5th word, future. I gotta wear shades. All right. And then the very last one. What is the outcome that you seek? It can be about anything. It can be about the town, the county, your podcast. With what you guys are doing for your part, what is the outcome you seek?
Right.
All right. So let's start from the top. Spruce pine. What was your word? Josh,
Mine.
first. What's that?
Mine.
Mine. Okay. Chase?
Home.
Home. Oh, good. All right. So let's expand on that just briefly. Why did you pick that word?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's just minerals, mines. Mine just came
Your
to
career?
mind. Yeah, probably. Yeah, since I work
that-
at one of the mine sites.
Yours is self-explanatory, but just that sums it up for you. Why'd you choose home?
It's home for me.
I hear you, man.
Mm-hmm.
It is for me too. I tell people my just quick reaction to both of those. Mines, we see them every day. You drive through town, you see the mountain. Love it or hate it, you see it. It's home. I tell people I spent my entire childhood trying to get away from here, and I spent my entire adult life trying to get back.
Dude, me and my girlfriend Laura were just talking about that.
And my wife, the Jackie, is probably more of a hillbilly than I am at this point, you know.
Yeah.
And when I brought her down here, you would think that she was born and raised here with the rest of us. She acclimated, and for a Detroit girl, that's a pretty big compliment.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Bakersville.
I had nothing.
Fair.
Rhododendron.
No, fair.
That's a good one. Yeah. No, I had nothing.
That I think of Bakersville too. I think quaint.
Yeah.
But I also think nothing. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think
Me too.
I think it's a good thing. I don't get a lot of drama when I'm in Bakersfield. I don't feel a lot of drama.
Right.
You know, it's just like I'm going to stop there and grab a snack before I head up to the Rhone. All right, local government, Josh.
Red tape.
Who? Accurate.
Good old boy.
Thank you and good night.
Not saying that necessarily covers the current.
No,
that's been my life experience.
It is everybody's life experience. Both of those are 1,000% accurate because it becomes a good old boy system because no one wants to do it.
Right.
And they can't do anything because there's so much red tape.
Exactly.
So those are important. I love this. All right, educational system. I'll start with you this time, Jason.
Growing.
Agreed.
Wow. Failing.
Oh.
I think this is something we need to explore. I think there's something there.
Yeah.
Sounds like y'all need to get some school board members on the podcast.
I think we do.
And have the
Reach out
direct
to us.
conversation.
I think a lot of
We'll
reason I
reach out
say
to you.
that is because, to be quite honest with you, as a person who went, even when we graduated, which the schools are look 1,000 times better than they did when we came through.
They do. They do.
And at least things are seem to be better funded. I'm not saying that the education is necessarily better, but I was quite surprised when I got to college. I took a leadership course, which was supposed to be the kind of the brightest, the best and brightest at UNCA my freshman year. And I remember they did one of those things where we exchanged our essays and we had to proofread somebody else's essay. I did 3 of them, and I was shocked at how much better my spelling, punctuation,
Really?
That's good to know.
sentence structure, and everything was. Was that your experience?
No.
Really?
Not at all. Not at all.
We need to explore this.
Yeah, we do.
All right, what's your word? Oh, yeah, it was failing.
All right.
Yeah, failing.
Future.
Bleak.
Ooh.
I'm not entirely optimistic, unfortunately. Go ahead. Cheers.
I said opportunity.
Oh, okay.
Chase, move a little bit closer to your microphone.
Sorry.
All right. This is why you two are great on a podcast together. You got some oppositional viewpoints. All right, final
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I think we do.
All right. What's the outcome you seek?
Growth and opportunity.
Happiness.
I live for both those things. I'm torn because I'm a hippie businessman. I wrestle with myself every day. I wake up like, oh, the sun's beautiful. I'm going to go down the river and screw corporate America. And I'm like, I got to get paid.
Yeah, exactly. You're on the river answering emails.
That's exactly. You know what? I drive out to the Alta Pass Orchard Overlook and work all the time.
That's awesome.
I got an outlet in the back of my truck to plug my laptop in, and I just sit there and do my thing. And sometimes I'll be in a conference call and people are like, oh, I like your background. It's a gorgeous background. I'm like, ain't no background. That's the real world.
The actual background.
And I turn, they're like, where are you working at? I'm like, outside my house here in the woods.
Yep.
But that's good stuff. The word association is something I
like that.
I do too.
I do that at the end of meetings a lot to get people to, one, to see if they're awake for the meeting, but two, to see what their vibe is about where we're headed and stuff. Mm-hmm. So feel free to adopt it. You might want to ask your gates to do word association with your guests and stuff moving forward. So it's a fun thing to do.
That's really cool.
Because you'll see, because if you the first word people think of is going to draw out really where their head's at. Mm-hmm. You know,
I like that, Jimmy.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I thought it'd be fun to do here.
I like that you chose happiness. I like that. I guess with me, happiness is like my baseline is just happy, so I don't even think about it.
You're out there hawking.
I think you're a little deeper than that. I think growth and opportunities tied to happiness because you want the security of growth and opportunity to maintain happiness.
I made a mistake. It's on a black screen. Hang on.
Oh, you hit fade to black.
Crap.
Hit the FTB button. That's fade to black.
Okay. Hang on. I'm trying to fix it.
You need an FTW button.
You good?
It's all good.
Is it still black?
Yeah.
Hit fade to black. Hit the FTB button.
Okay.
All right. Now hit camera 1 or 2 or hit one of the camera buttons.
Wait.
Aha, there you go.
I fixed it.
All right.
Boom.
We're back. And we're back.
We're back.
It's all right. Our producer's
Thanks for playing.
He's still learning too. This is a learning curve for all of us. But I like the fact that this is just raw and it's just us growing and making mistakes and messing up. And I mean, man, these discussions they're messy, and I want that. I like that authenticity. I think people crave that when they look for information. They crave that because you're seeing us. If you're watching this, you're seeing us sitting here working this stuff out and hashing it out in real time. Well, not in real time, but after the fact. But
if people have a chance to prepare, they will sugarcoat some.
Oh, 1,000%.
And or withhold truths they might have said because they get self-conscious about what they say. So the format, I think that's like why Joe Rogan's podcast rules, because he just goes and talks.
That's exactly what they do. They just start talking.
I like this. I like what you guys are doing with this, and I do love the fact that we're just three rando dudes that grew up here,
right?
In Spruce Pine, different backgrounds.
Different perspectives. We just found out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We all love music, though.
Yeah, we do.
We all love music. That's what we got in common.
But the different perspectives, that's what makes the world go round. I mean, that's what makes it an interesting and beautiful place. If everybody thought the same, we were talking about this the other day when we were going to Johnson City to pick up the table. How boring would it be? How boring would life be?
And that's the reason we need, there's value in people coming together and to work for a common goal.
Yeah.
It's time we put our differences aside and start doing something
agreed
good for our community, for our country, for that matter.
Yeah, that's what I say. Criticism is great. Negativity is a waste of everyone's time.
Absolutely.
And shut up and show up.
Yep.
And don't complain. Act.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you don't like your situation, change it.
Yeah.
Well said, Jimmy.
Yep.
I don't think we can end on any better note than that.
I don't either. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are accepting advertisers and sponsors at this point, so if that's something you're interested in, if you want to advertise and work with us, please reach out. I will link that information down below. And just share this and leave comments please continue the discussion in the comment section, because we want to hear from everybody. We want to know what everyone's perspective is. This is not just a conversation between three people. This is really a conversation for the county and surrounding area at large.
Yeah, for the community.
Yeah, for the entire community. We want you all to be a part of this. And if you have ideas for guests, or you want to come on the show, if you have some stuff you want to talk about, please reach out. Again, my contact information will be linked down below. And until then, peace out.